My name is Alejandra Gomez, and I grew up with a typical childhood in California, go to school, come home. In the summers we would go to Mexico. But I started noticing that only my mother and I would go to Mexico. My father would never come with us. He would always say that he had to stay home and work, provide for the family while we were out in Mexico visiting. So one year, one of his family members became ill, so he actually went to Mexico with us, and I was about 8 years old at the time. And when we were actually crossing back into the United States from the Nogales border, my father disappeared. Like, my mother and I didn't know where he was or where he went. And so we waited, we crossed the border, we waited at the McDonald's that's at the Nogales border on the US side for about 2 to 3 hours. And by this time I was just like panicking, like, where's my dad? I'm scared, I didn't know what was happening. And like within the next couple minutes, a man that I didn't know came out of nowhere, and he asked my mother, is your husband the light man with the green eyes? And my mother said, yes, that's him. And he said, well, he wanted me to relay a message to you that he crossed the fence, the hole in the fence, fine, and that he's on his way over. So right there I started to pay attention, and I knew that things were not right. So we went back to California. This man came with us, and things I started to notice started getting harder. My dad worked at a factory, Mission Tortillas, and there were raids almost every single day. And he would call my mom and tell him they didn't take me today because my father had the fortune of being what they called camouflage. He was light Mexican. But also they were, at the time in California, trying to take away the citizenship of children that were born to undocumented people. They were trying to take away education and medical attention. So my father basically said, we can't live like this. This is too much, and something's going to end up happening where they're either going to deport me or they're going to separate us, and I don't know what you guys are going to do. So we moved to Arizona not knowing what was there. I just remember driving at night in the car, looking back at night through the window and thinking, like, what's in Arizona? Tumbleweeds, like, I don't know, I've never been. So we got here. It was a difficult adjustment, but I started you know, going to school. I was able to start college, fast forwarding a couple years, and I really started to learn about my culture and what was happening. And I promised myself that when we left California, I felt very powerless, but I would never feel like that again. And if the opportunity ever came up again for me to be able to voice my opinion and fight for my community, that I would. And to my dismay, actually, it happened. SB 1070 hit, and our community was devastated. A woman, the day that the bill was signed, 800 ICE agents were released, and they were able to go into any community, any market, anywhere. And one of the women that was shopping at the time, and she was pregnant, actually lost her child because of this. So the fear is very real, and the moment is very scary for some of our and most of our community. People don't leave their homes. They're scared to go buy groceries. There's helicopters that are going over neighborhoods saying, come out, wetbacks basically, and we're gonna take you, we're gonna arrest you. So the fear is real, and we need people to come out and help us to really help stop what's happening here. The racism is alive, and the injustice is too, and we need people that have a heart and a passion to come out to Arizona and fight for the rights of the community so that this doesn't spread across the nation, and that intimidation of a community, the constant fear that people live in, doesn't continue.